Yo, what's going on, guys? Spartan here, guys. We are back today with an awesome video for you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about Tren talk. We're going to be talking about the life-changing side effects with Trenbolone. And regardless of where in the world you're watching this from, whether it's legal, illegal in your country to use Trenbolone, I'm going to recommend highly that you do not use this compound. And you're going to want to listen to these reasons. I'm going to keep this video short, sweet, to the point, but listen to these reasons because I guarantee most likely you have not heard some of these before. So guys, without any further ado, let's get into Tren talk, the life-changing side effects. First and foremost with Trenbolone, let's talk about this. I've talked about this in other videos. I'm just going to touch on it. But Trenbolone directly Trenbolone directly kills neurons. Those are cells in your brain in the hippocampus, aka Trenbolone directly kills brain cells in the plainest terms I can. Again, specifically in the hippocampus, that's what converts short-term to long-term memories. So it more specifically, Derek from More Plates talks about this. I put the studies out, all that already, so I'm not going to get into that. But the hippocampus, again, short-term to long-term memory. Moving on from that, that's the worst thing. Moving on, let's talk about anxiety. Trenbolone is going to give you massive, and not a little bit, massive anxiety, okay? Trenbolone has never been approved for human use, and granted has to do with a lot of the things involving the brain. Having said that, this 19-nor-derived anabolic steroid, massive anxiety, depression, and just in general, Trenbolone, depending on how much you take, again, dose dependent, is going to make it so that, honestly, you can't be happy no matter what. That's one of the extremely serious sides with Trenbolone, is that it's going to affect your emotions, your mood. Again, the neurotransmitters, I'm speculating that this is what's causing this underlying effect, but Trenbolone is going to make it that, okay, not only do you have anxiety over everything, not only, you can have really bad depression, okay, talking from, a lot of people, what they've put in their experience. But you can have, one of the most common side effects from Trenbolone is that the inability to be happy no matter what, okay? It's going to completely screw up and, sink your neurotransmitter, so to speak, neurotransmitters in your brain, so to speak, okay? This compound is not for humans. If you're trying to bulk up a cattle or, different animals before you want to slaughter it and eat them, okay, fine, but in terms of the human brain, the side effects are extremely detrimental. Insomnia, we're talking about the worst insomnia you've ever had, depending on, again, dose taken. With this insomnia, will come night sweats. And, another thing on the night sweats, this is not just during the night, okay? Again, being in this world, you can have bad sweats around the clock. And this is from androgen, from the hard binding of Trenbolone to sites in the skin. We know how androgen receptor sites exist on the sebaceous glands, the sweat glands too. So you can break out in sweats, and this can also be caused secondarily from hypoglycemia. Trenbolone can give you great hypoglycemia, and does, okay, which is again round the clock, compounded with dieting. Let's move away from the brain for a second and talk about some other life-changing effects with Trenbolone. But if we're talking about mental side effects besides the killing of brain cells, the inability to be happy no matter what is extremely a very severe side effect, because you're going to act and do things that you never would otherwise. Moving on away from mental, let's talk about body side effects. In terms of the body, we don't know as much about it as we do the brain, the effects on the brain. But like we talked about, a little systemic hypoglycemia. This can cause issues as far as weakness, fatigue, other things. Besides that, we already addressed the sweat things. But one of the biggest cons, the body cons, with Trenbolone is going to be none other than what? Hair loss, okay, in terms of body side effects. If you're prone to male pattern baldness even a little bit, Trenbolone can absolutely blow out your hair. If you're a man, and I have seen many horror stories on that, but that's still a big deal, but not as big of a deal. Most of the effects with Trenbolone are going to be due to, from what we know, there could be body damaging body effects that we just don't know about yet. But the biggest thing is going to be, again, the brain, surrounding the brain. One thing I do want to know with Trenbolone, even though it's not organ toxic that we know of, Trenbolone can cause organ damage. We're talking kidneys first, kidneys, liver, even heart and arteries. Now, why? Now, from what we know, the biggest contributing factor to this is going to be a huge spike in blood pressure. Trenbolone can damage your internal organs. Why? Because of high blood pressure. And even if forgetting Trenbolone, if you're somebody who has really high blood pressure, you are causing damage to your kidneys and your liver, and the kidneys take the worst of it because you have those, the little nephrons inside the kidneys, which are basically small filtration plants. So when blood pressure goes through the roof, guess what? These get damaged, okay? And I'm not talking small spikes. I'm talking long-term consistent damage. We're talking days. The nephrons get damaged, okay? So you can have organ damage, absolutely, from Trenbolone, even if it's not toxic, because the spike in blood pressure that many people experience, similar to people taking Anadrol long-term, or even massive doses of testosterone long-term, and they don't address that. The last thing, guys, I want to touch on is plaque buildup, and this is extremely serious. The last body thing I want to talk about, extremely serious plaque buildup in the arteries, and this is not just due to Trenbolone, but it's Trenbolone and DECA both do this. Trenbolone, I would argue, worse. Why? Because you get the huge spike in blood pressure along with it that you don't get with DECA. But from what we know, I've already posted this study. I've posted this video on this channel. From what we know, and granted, this is a smaller study, but from what we know in the medical world currently, go watch my video, why DECA is 11 times worse than testosterone in terms of damaging your arteries and blood vessels. From what we know, both Trenbolone and DECA damage arteries and blood vessels, which does what? If you have a damaged artery, blood vessels, guess what? Then the plaque will stick to it. So from what we know in some early on research, go watch my video on that. We know that both Trenbolone and DECA are up to 10 times worse at damaging blood vessels, arteries, etc. than testosterone. So if you needed one more reason to stay away from this nasty, nasty compound, that would be it. If the mental side effects weren't bad enough, there's also some pretty serious physical side effects. Guys, Seth Spartan here. Stay safe, stay healthy, no matter where you're watching this in the world. God bless all of you guys. But please be careful what you put into your body. You only got one body, so take care of it. And guys, we are out of here. Boom and boom.